What's up guys, Pharmakai here. Today I have a very different type of video for you. As anyone that knows me in real life will tell you, I'm a very passionate person when it comes to social issues. And I definitely don't mean I'm one of these people that cries out for safe spaces. In fact, I'm quite the opposite. I tend to get into very lengthy debates and rants on Facebook, and I've also decided to make a series on YouTube talking about the social issues I'm interested in and opening the discussion up to a broader community. So what's caught my interest today? Well, I've recently seen on the news that a group of doctors, health and sports experts are planning on banning rugby from schools. Well, technically just the tackling in rugby, but you ask any rugby player if they'd like to play without tackling and they'd rather put on a skirt and go and play netball. This has really annoyed me, not just because of that, but because this is one of many changes similar to this that I've seen lately. It reminds me of when I was at school. Anyone born in the UK before 1995 would remember a fantastic game that used to rule the playground. I am of course talking about British Bulldog. This was a fantastic game that anyone who's ever played it would have fond memories of. But unfortunately, it was banned in most schools way back in 2006. Which was a real shame because it was so much more than just a game. It required rugged physical contact, logical thinking, problem solving, teamwork and a tough exterior. This game unfortunately joins a really long list of things that schools in recent years have ironically banned, all for the sake of saving a few bumps, scratches and hurt feelings. In many schools in England, and I swear to God I can't make this up, they've actually banned the use of red ink when marking exams. Apparently it's too confrontational and it demoralises the students. Another ridiculously stupid thing I've heard is the banning of the song Bar Bar Black Sheep in many preschools. Apparently this song is way too racist for our 3 and 4 year olds to be learning. It's a fucking sheep for Christ's sake. Apparently the phrase of sticks and stones may break my bones but words will never hurt me has been forgotten at some point in the last 10 years, as schools have adopted a zero tolerance policy on any kind of minor name calling. Now there's a psychological theory called systematic desensitization. Put simply, it means the more you are exposed to a negative thing, the less negatively it affects you. This is a common technique employed by psychologists to treat people with phobias. To put this into context, if you grew up in a schoolyard where you heard lots of name calling, lots of offensive jokes, chances are in later life you'll be less affected by these things. So maybe you're a 20-year-old person, you get called fat. If you've heard this 100 times in your school years, you really aren't going to care. However, if you've been so sheltered for the first 16 to 18 years of your life that you've never heard this before, you'll probably break down in tears. After all, isn't that what school's for? Isn't school supposed to prepare you for adult life? It just seems so fashionable these days to mollycoddle the next generation and just completely shelter them from anything mildly harmful or offensive, so much that they can't even see the real world through their bubble wrap. So what's the result of this? You turn 18, you finally leave school, and the real world hits you like a fucking train. We are producing a generation of weak-willed, weak-minded, quivering wrecks who are afraid and offended of anything which contradicts their sheltered, narrow existence. Now I grew up with a lot of rough and tumble. I got called names. I sometimes called other people names. I'd fall over, cut my knee, wipe the tears from my eyes, get over it and play on. And I really don't think I turned out that bad. In fact, I feel I turned out a lot better than the next generation will. Now the reason I say that is because of my job. Some of you may know, but I'm a support worker. I work closely with adults with acquired brain injuries, learning disabilities and mental health issues. And if you speak to anyone that's ever worked in one of those sectors, they'll tell you the same thing. You need to be patient, tolerant and thick-skinned. Over the last 4 years, I've probably been called every name you can possibly think of. I've had every bad word shouted at me by people suffering from psychotic meltdowns, by people who have severe learning disabilities and can't understand why I'm there, and by people with severe memory loss who can't even remember who I am. I've been bitten, scratched, had my hair pulled, and I've been dragged around a dining room by a man with severe learning disabilities who's twice my size. Now here's a question for you guys to think about. How can we expect jobs like this to be filled by a generation of people who are afraid of their own shadow? How could you expect a police officer to defend you from violence if they've never even been involved in rugged physical contact before? In fact, how can you expect any of them to grow into independent, strong people? Especially considering for the first 18 years of their life, they haven't even had to think about common sense because it's all been done for them. More worrying still, this is getting worse. This is going to continue to get worse year after year until society realises that a bit of rough and tumble and a few bad words might actually be good for us. Anyway, rant over. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know if you agree, and let me know if you disagree. We'll have a good debate about it. Either way, it'll be really helpful if you could like and subscribe as well. Until my next rant, see you guys next time.